we live on, which has to do with our flesh. And I love this card for this reason. This card, she is actually looking right head on to a bird that is a flesh-eating vulture. And he's coming right at her. And what she's representing is, I am not the flesh. I am the soul. So therefore, come and eat me, it's okay. But she's sitting on a cube, which is the 3 and the 4, so the change, the fact that I'm not the flesh, but I only, and we know this because I've taught you this a bazillion times, we have spirit and matter, right? We have Uranus or chaos and Saturn. And from the castration of Uranus, Saturn castrated him, Venus was born. And Venus, we know, is matter or the body. And this is why it all ties together, okay? So this is the earthly plane. The number 4 in that particular theory or philosophy is death. I'll have to look it up if it's Japanese or Chinese. So 3 plus 4. Do, re, mi, the Trinity. It has to do with the cosmos and other planes. Fa, sol, la, ti. The reason I don't have do on here is because do is going to start the next ascension of do, re, mi. Just like the musical scale. Change happens here in the shock. There is a shock of do, re, mi. Once you come from the cosmos, once you come from the spiritual planes, from your cosmic womb, you're shocked into the earthly realm. Conception, that is the moment of conception. And so that moment of conception, you start developing your earthly body. That's why you have to rewrite, if you're going to be reborn, your origin story. That is why behavior change is practically impossible. It is so hard to hashtag do it differently. I've told you about my theory, the Band-Aid. So you have awareness. That's at the shock. That's easy. That's going to happen. It's contemplation or preparation or action. You're thinking about it, you're getting ready, and you actually do it. But why don't you sustain the change? So this is the shock, but this is sustained change. Can anyone tell me why we don't change behavior for very long, and why the 4, or why the earthly plane, or why the adult is so difficult? Because we don't what?
Accountability.
We don't hold ourselves accountable. We blame others. We do not take personal responsibility. Okay? So awareness is just the Trinity, the 3, the do, re, mi. Integration, I personally, and I was having this conversation with my friend this weekend, I do believe in integration. I think integration, not that it's easy, but it's much easier than hashtag do it differently. Because hashtag do it differently, you have to hold yourself accountable and now rewrite, so to speak, your origin story. You have to trade in your Costco for your Nordstroms. And most people are not willing to do that. However, I do think that we can get to the integration, so like the teen, child, teen, and maybe the beginning of the adult, when you integrate that certain values of your parents are no longer a problem, and you move those values over. That's my personal opinion. So, 3 plus 4 is 7. That is the number of the universe. It is believed, and again, this is metaphysical, law, that there are 7 planes in the universe. 7 sort of above, lokas, I've told you about these in Hinduism, and 7 below, and here's the earthly plane. In shamanism, we call it the lower earth and the upper earth, or the lower world, I'm sorry, and the upper world, and this is the middle world, okay? So we see this, and I know that this is in some of these Lord of the Rings and things like that. I've heard of that. I've never seen them. So that is why the model is set up as 3 plus 4. And in order for you to have behavior change, you must go through the 7 steps. Then you have another shock. Because now you have do, re, mi, and another square, and another shock. And then you can change again and again and again. But it is practically impossible to sustain that shock of change. And what do? We go right back to our nature, right back to our origin story, right back to our tendency. And we don't sustain the earthly part. And the earthly part is doing it differently. The earthly part is not eating that sugar cookie. The earthly part is not taking that cigarette. That earthly part is, doing chemo, whatever, whatever it is that is the sustained change. So, one of the interesting things about this, why I use a metaphysical law, the law of octaves, is because it is believed in all mythologies. In all mythologies, it is believed there is a creation story. And this is one example. I don't know if I have my myth book here. I don't think so. I think it's downstairs. I'll bring it next time. Anyway, in the creation story, we have a universe, or a cosmic egg, it's oftentimes, that is intact. This is do, re, mi. This is you as a soul. And then you need to come down into your mom's belly and become a person, become a body, right? So we're using the same thing. And that cracks. That is the origin story. That is the point of weakness. What's that called? The weakest link? Weakest link. And that becomes the point where you constantly go and hit and hit and hit. And that's why most of the time, everything that we want to change goes back to that thread of that one origin story, that one conception story, that one issue that you want to change over and over and over again. Do you understand why I set up the model according to 3 + 4 to say that if you do all of these consistently, you will have true behavior change? But it's very, very hard because, of course, we have to look at unmet needs and value systems and judgments. But do you understand how I explained the law of octaves? Did it make sense? Do, re, mi. This is like the shock, let's say, if we're using origin story, where you were like, up, conceived. Fa, sol, la, ti, you were given a body. Every time you try to do a behavior change, you're following that same thing. Do, re, mi, I want to change. I'm going to stop smoking. I hit the origin story. I'm not supposed to stop smoking. My family smokes. Everyone smokes in this place. Smoke, smoke, smoke. Whatever it is. I want to hide behind my cloud of smoke. Whatever it is. You hit the shock, but you don't find the sustenance in this world, in this earthly plane, the accountability for you to maintain the change. And so you're smoke-free for 6 months. You gain 30 pounds because you keep eating. And then you get back to contemplation. And you're smoking, and now you're fatter. And you had to spend more money because you just bought a new wardrobe. And this is what we do. And it is constantly linked to that crack. When we were a whole, and then we became imperfect the minute we took on a body. Any questions?